There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. Experience gorgeous, lasting, high-quality hair color made with ingredients you could feel good about, with consistent results every time. It's easy to find your perfect shade. Book a complimentary video hair color consultation with a licensed colorist on madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code RADIO10. That's code RADIO10.
It's Sal Capaccio.
Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio. Sal Capaccio.
On WGR.
Sal joining us on the Western Hotline. Brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? If you have a question about the Bills, now would be a good time to call. You can bring it up with Sal or share a comment or an opinion. 803-0550. Good morning, Sal. Happy Wednesday to you.
You too. Good morning.
Hey, let's start with the injuries. Knock on wood. Things are looking pretty good, right? The Bills seem to be, based on what Sean McDermott said yesterday, in pretty good shape going into the opener.
Yeah, the only question right now is Star Lotulelei. He was not at practice again yesterday, at least not in the media, early portion that we get to watch. Right now it's, regular season rules, so we watch stretching, individual work, and then leave. But that appears to be the case. And really it was possibly going to be the case anyway when McDermott said beforehand that he would either not be out there or he would be out there, but in a limited basis. So, today's Wednesday. Today is the first injury report. The first official injury report will be released later today, and we'll get a feel and a little more knowledge and clarity on that, I think.
What do you think, Star coming back, Sal, what kind of an impact would that have on this defense? In what ways do you think?
Well, it goes back to all the things that we've talked about since, March and April, and Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier and everybody, and even the guys, around him have said that he just makes everybody's job so much easier because of how much attention teams have to pay to him as a big body in the middle and tying up blockers. This is a defense that is predicated upon team. It's all about team. It's not about individual star players. Yes, they have really good players. We know that. But if everybody's doing their job in this defense, it makes it so much easier to really get accomplished what they want to. And that means Star Lotulelei is there helping Ed Oliver, so Ed Oliver doesn't have to take on double teams. That means Star Lotulelei is there to help keep Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds clean. And then you go to even the injuries last year. You could say that, and I know that, it happened in the opener where Tremaine Edmonds dove and he hurt his shoulder, but, that's more physicality on them throughout an entire game if they're not as clean, right? I mean, more guys are coming. They're taking on blocks, more chance of injury. All those kinds of things factor into it. But if they don't have him, last year, guys, was tough sledding a lot of times with teams running the ball on them. And, you have to wonder, can teams do that, especially if Harrison Phillips doesn't play? We don't know. Now, he looks like he's in good shape, but, again, he had a knee injury in the preseason, and he's been practicing, but, what's his status? So I think this is something at least to monitor and think about against a Steelers team that wants to run the football and drafted a running back in the first round.
So with regard to Star, missing a season, is there any adjustment period for him? I mean, we were kind of waiting to find out if he was going to come back, it seemed, until a little bit late in the game. His account, the Bills' account, he's 100% ready to go, other than the injury that he's nursing right now.
Jeremy, I don't think so, but I think it's a valid question because he also missed all the voluntary stuff, if you remember, right? Voluntary OTAs. He came back, and when he came back, though, he seemed really rejuvenated. He said, I'm here. Like, he squashed any notion that he would even think about opting out again and that was even right before like a deadline he had to, but he squashed that notion right away. We all saw videos of him. People said he was too skinny, right? Remember that? Oh my God, right. Look at him. He looks great, but he's really skinny. And I think from everything we've heard from the coaches, they're pretty confident that he's come back and he's fit in right away, conditioning-wise and things like that. Now, it is going to be mid-70s and on the field probably around 80 degrees. It's a hot day. This is probably a situation where you're going to want to rotate a lot of guys. Even Mike Tomlin talked about that with his own guys yesterday, listening to his press conference, which is they have to be very aware of the early season, September, and all of the heat. So, conditioning-wise, I think he's probably in a good spot, but I don't think you can rely on a guy like Starr right now to be playing 60 to 70% of your snaps.
Will the pass rush be better? We spent the whole offseason talking about the pass rush. Will it be better?
God, I hope so. I mean, and when I say that, Howard, and they were not bad at getting pressure last year. A lot of the analytics and data says the Bills actually did a good job of getting pressure last year. They didn't get the quarterback on the ground. That was the issue. And how many times did we talk about that little extra bit that they needed, that extra length maybe that Greg Rousseau brings, that extra push from the pocket maybe that Boogie Basham or Ed Oliver bring, that you hope he can bring. All those little things. So I think when we talk about is there enough quarterback pressure, it's kind of got to be parsed in two ways. I think they got enough quarterback pressure. Sure, you always want more. You want to be the best at it. They didn't get the quarterback on the ground. They didn't get hands on the quarterback enough. They didn't force the quarterback, to really have to adjust and make the kinds of plays and do things that he didn't want to do. And I think that's where the issue came in.
We talked a little bit about watching the rookies over the course of the preseason. Rousseau certainly looks like he's better right now than Basham. I know it's obviously extremely early, but can you talk a little bit about what you did see from both Rousseau and Basham, and what is fair to expect from those guys in their first seasons with the Bills?
So I'll be in the boat, and there were a lot of people like this, but I'll take this one on the chin and say I had them reversed, kind of, right? Whereas when they were drafted, I was one that said, okay, Basham's going to come in. He's more pro ready. He's going to probably fit in right away. He can be part of the rotation. Yeah, that Rousseau guy, he might be really good someday, but probably more of a project. He's going to have to probably put a little weight on, figure out the NFL game. It's been kind of reverse, and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying Boogie Basham isn't ready. I just think that it seems like he's feeling out the defense a little more because he's playing inside, he's playing outside. They're asking him to do some things. He hasn't made the flash splash plays that Rousseau has. Now, I think he'll be fine. Who knows? I mean, remember last year A.J. Epinesa was inactive week 1. I could see a scenario where Basham's inactive this week. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have a lot of guys there on the defensive line. They're going to have to choose somebody not to play. Not Rousseau, though, man. He has come in and exceeded all my expectations. I think he has looked really good from the jump, from the very get-go. When he came in for OTAs, minicamp, rookie stuff, all that kind of stuff, he just stood out. Mm-hmm. And I remember writing and saying to you guys, think about how long we've come, how quick it seems like, guys. We were talking in May, and I would say to you guys, boy, he looks really good without pads on. Let's see what happens when he puts pads on, right? Well, the pads came on, and he still looked really good. We had to do a write-up. Brayton sent me this thing to do a write-up for the Bills season, for Odyssey, for the network, the company. And one of the questions was, who's the Bills' X factor this year? And I picked Greg Rousseau because I'm telling you guys, he could really be the difference between what we just talked about of having that pass rush, that sack the quarterback, that guy who can do it where every game you go in and go, okay, now you got a guy. Now teams have to know where he is. Yeah. Now your game plan completely changes and you can do a lot more stuff. Versus, boy, first-round pick, you really hope he gets it. He's part of the rotation, but they really don't have – I think that's a huge difference right there. But, man, I really like what I've seen from him so far. I think he uses his leverage. He uses his length. He's super smart. And I don't think that the weight thing is an issue right now because of all that. And he'll only get bigger and stronger and better, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting, the point about not having that guy. Here's Sean McDermott yesterday talk. That guy is TJ Watt. Here's the kind of player where you have to account for him on every single play.
Yes.
And you have to know where he is. And are you double teaming the guy? Are you chipping? What are you doing? Are you worried about him on every single play? The Bills don't have that guy. The Bills have a bunch of pieces that look promising as a unit on the defensive line, but I'm sure they're hoping Rousseau turns into the game record that some teams like Pittsburgh do have.
Yeah, and go back to what I just said a little while ago about it. It's normally based on a team defense. It is a team defense. It's not about individual stars. But you got to have that guy in the NFL that teams have to worry about and slide the protection to so that you can do other things and say, hey, we got him over here. If he's going to get double teamed, then we can free this guy up and we can send a blitz over here. It just changes your entire game plan. It changes the way that you approach the game because of the way the offense has to approach the game. So, Can he be that guy? I don't know. But, man, I think that it's possible. And pretty quickly, too, by the way. That's the other part about this. It's not like if you told me, if we're sitting here in 3 years and you said, boy, that Greg Rousseau, he turned out to be a really good draft pick, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think anybody was expecting anybody to be sitting here after 3-4 weeks into the season going, okay, like this guy's really good, and they have this rookie who teams have to account for every play. But I could actually see that happening now over the next few weeks.
Sal with us here on the Western Hotline, 803-0550. Have any Bills questions for him? The captains were announced yesterday. I wouldn't say I'm surprised that Diggs was one of the offensive captains, but it speaks volumes about the role he plays, what he's done, and how quickly he has become a leadership, right? For not only guys on the offense, you would answer this because you're out there every day watching how he works with other receivers on offense, but the team in general too.
Yeah, that's right. And, I think he really is embracing that role. He knows, he's a big part of what they're doing here. And how many times did we all hear about from Minnesota people, and not necessarily media, it was more fans maybe, or national people who didn't know when they traded for him. Diva, he's going to come in there, he's going to ruin Josh Allen. Just wait till he doesn't get the ball. This guy has been anything but that, right? I think that, the players determine this, the team determines it, however they do it. I think they vote, whatever. But I'm telling you, I think that Stephon Diggs has been the consummate professional in that regard from what I've seen from the outside looking in. And all of those other things have been exactly the opposite of what he's been. To talk about a diva, talk about the relationship with Josh. They have an outstanding relationship. He never, granted, he did have tons of targets, so there's not a lot to complain about, but it wasn't like we saw him throwing fits because he wasn't getting the ball or anything like that. And I think he came into this organization. How many times have we debated culture and all that? And you guys have said it, right? I mean, I know we've had it and when you say, you bring a person in and after you win, then you have this culture that people adapt to. And that's right. I think Stephon's a great case study in that. Like, he came into this organization, they were ready to win, and he basically fell right in line with how everything had to go. And if he wanted to be a part of something special, I think that's what he needed to do. But he was already like that. But it just helped him that he was part of this group with this coaching staff. And yes, I think, being a leader, leadership, maybe he's not, I don't know, maybe he's not a guy that stands and rah-rahs in front of the team. You don't have to be like that to be a leader. How you carry yourself, how you practice, how you prepare every day. Everybody's watching you, and a guy like that has so many eyes on him. And I think that's how he became a team captain and so many people respected him.
Yeah, Sal, part of this equation, I think about the Deion Dawkins piece in the Player Tribune. It sounds like, the culture the Bills had put in place, maybe not needed a guy like Diggs, but as much as like he fell in line with them, he also, Dawkins' words, he took them a place that they weren't before, right? Like, I think Dawkins' quote is, "We didn't know someone could be this good at football," and his injection into that mix kind of brought them in a different direction as well.
That's a great point, Jeremy. Right? I mean, you're trying to build this. You look around, yeah, we're building together, and then all of a sudden, this guy comes in. You're like, oh, wait a minute, there's another level we can get to. Right? Like, I want to be like that guy. Look how good he is. Look what he's doing for our offense. Wait a minute. And what did Deion say? He said that was kind of a signal from Brandon Beane, like, we need to step up. We're ready now. We're ready to win. And I think that gets you a little more, not pressure necessarily, but you understand the magnitude of what you're trying to chase and where you are. And that's a great message to send to a group. And it was a great message because obviously they got to the AFC Championship game and looking to go even further now.
Speaking of messages to the group, one of the things that came up yesterday with Sean McDermott was, the hype, all the preseason hype, the power rankings, people picking him to go to the Super Bowl, all this stuff. And we've talked to you before, Sal, about how good Sean McDermott is when it comes to getting his players to focus and not getting caught up in any of the stuff that's going out there, positive, negative. I thought it was interesting that he cited Patrick Cantlay yesterday when he was talking about this, about the message of, look, this is the whole deal. You focus every game. And you don't think about big picture. And I think he brought up, what was it, the Tour Championship, Jeremy, where Cantlay led wire to wire. Every day he focused on, what am I doing today? And he ends up winning the tournament. I thought that was kind of interesting that here's a football coach citing that as an example he'll pass across to his team.
Just gets back to the one word that I've always described for Sean McDermott as the number one thing about him since he walked in the building is consistency. It really is. The way that he runs his team, the way he runs his program, the way he runs practices, talks to the media. Sean McDermott is just all about consistency and doing things the same way. Now, does that mean it doesn't mean he doesn't adjust, of course, right? I mean, there's certain times where you have to kind of pivot and adjust, and you go back and you say, what did I do wrong here? What did I do right here? All those kinds of things. But I think that goes directly to the kind of person he is, which is every single day there's a certain standard we have to meet. And those things sound cliche all the time. And we've heard them even before Sean McDermott, right? We've heard many coaches say it. They've come through the door here. And front office people, they've come through the door, and they've said that. But I'm telling you guys, when you see it in action, when you see how it actually plays out and what it means, like that's culture to me, right? That certain standard that every single day, it is a mindset. He talks about that. It is a mindset. Sometimes people aren't wired like that, and they kind of have to figure out how to be wired like that. And you have to be around that every day. And it takes reps and it takes reps. And that's what he's talking about, is every single day being dialed in on exactly what you're supposed to do. It's not about, today's not about Friday. It's not about Thursday. Today's about Wednesday. It's about going out on the practice field and doing what you have to do today. And then tomorrow we do it again. And then tomorrow we do it again. And you can't allow yourself to get ahead of yourself. Now, we're going to do all these predictions. We see the Bills are a trendy Super Bowl pick. You got Josh Allen MVP. That's our job. That's our business. That's what we're going to do. That's what fans are going to do. We're all going to look at that. And, of course, they have a bigger goal to ultimately win the Super Bowl. But if you start thinking about that on September 8th, it's not going to happen. The only thing you can think about on September 8th, it's not even the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's practicing on September 8th. I know it sounds corny, but that's his message. That's what he tries to get across.
I thought he was actually funny yesterday. So there was one question. He was asked about the receiving corps and how deep it is. It was Sal Mayorana from Rochester who asked him about basically, you've been around the league for a long time. Is this I think the deepest, best, however, whichever word he used, the deepest, best receiving corps you've ever been around or ever seen. And McDermott laughed a little bit. It's like, Sal, you getting me to try and take the bait, huh? And I thought that was kind of interesting to this Sal, not the other Sal, that this is not a negative question. This is something where you're looking for the coach to say, I've never seen a receiving corps better than this. And he just kind of Sal, I'm not taking the bait. It's like, is he worried that if I say this is a great receiving corps, I'm providing the opponent with material or what?
No. I don't think so at all. I think Sean's been like this for 4 years, which is anytime you ask a question like that about how good someone is, he's going to kind of temper the enthusiasm a little bit just because I don't think he wants to signal, to put anybody above the team necessarily, to put any group above the team. And he'll always kind of circle back to, he'll say, like all our players, right? He says that phrase a lot. Yeah. Well, like all our players. If you say, boy, Greg Rousseau looks amazing, how's it been, for the first few weeks at training camp? Sean will say, yep, he's come in, he's adapted well. But like all our players, he's working on things. And he has to, and he always circles back to that. I don't think it has to do anything with the opponent. This is something, let's go back to that word, consistency. He's been consistent on this messaging for 4 years, which is, he knows he has some fantastic football players. Yeah. But it's all about the team. It's all about everybody. Eric Wood made a really good point too when he said in the broadcast last week, I think it was, or maybe a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, one of the things about McDermott, he never wants anybody to feel super comfortable all the time. Mm-hmm. This is his way of there's always work to do. I don't want to sit there and go, this guy, I'll put him in the Hall of Fame. They're the best. It's just not the way he operates. It's always about, hey, you could be the best one day, top of the hill, you're on the bottom next, because if you're not doing everything you need to do, it doesn't matter. I think that's just his messaging and why he says, I'm not taking the bait, because he just doesn't do that. Well,
and I know he's also, he never really singles guys out or anything on a negative side either. Correct. Yesterday, he was also asked something about, your defense wasn't that great last year. Does it need to be better? Something to that effect. And he immediately went to, we've all got to be better. I've got to coach better.
Correct.
He will never.
Like all our guys, like all our players.
Right, exactly. Right? As you were saying that, I'm thinking, well, it works both ways. Whether it's positive or negative, it's always, the bigger picture, all of us, not a single unit or coach, what have you.
I'll give you another reason why he might say and answer the way he did to Sal Mayorana, which is, so let's say he goes, greatest receiving group I've ever been around. Suddenly today, we're probably reading stories from the Philly Inquirer or the Charlotte Observer about how McDermott dissed his receivers in Philly or in Carolina because he wants to avoid any of that kind of stuff, and rightly so, and you can understand why.
Yeah. Hey, before we let you go, I know we're all into football, but it's I'll let you have your Yankees moment today. Obviously you and Franklin were, I guess.
My God.
No,
good.
This is not about them losing 8 out of 10 and maybe diving out of a playoff spot. Thank you very much, Yankees. Today is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and one Derek Jeter is going in. Do you have a favorite game, moment, or if you think of Jeter, what do you think of as a Yankee fan?
Sal, you go
I think
first.
of him diving into the stands against the Red Sox and coming up with his face battered and bruised and bloody. That was just – I remember watching that game. That game was a crazy game. The overall game was incredible. If you go back and watch it, and that play was kind of a signature moment in that game. Of course, there's the play against the A's, right, the flip, which still, to me, I always debate how great of a play really was it. And the more I watch, the further we get away from it, I agree it was an incredible play. I'll tell you, that's a play that – Max has asked me about a lot. He watches YouTube and he'll watch baseball stuff, and that play will come up and he'll ask me to explain what happened and why it was so great. And then, you have to. You kind of, well, hey, he's going this way, he gets it, he flips it, and then 3,000 hits. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, to do that.
That's what I was going to. Yeah, Sal, that's what I was going to say. I remember watching it as a little kid when Michael Kay on the call. History with an exclamation point.
What a great call.
I know.
You're right, Franklin.
So that definitely sticks out in my mind as my favorite Derek Jeter moment. And I think it was his last hit was a walk-off against the Orioles in Yankee Stadium.
His last game, he gets a walk-off single to win the game, right? He goes, awesome. 4 for 4 the day that he gets 3,000. He has the home run. But I think if you ask this question to most people, although you try to find a moment, Howard, I think the answer is his career in totality, just because of how consistent he was, how great he was all the time, and all the championships and leadership and all that kind of stuff, right? But you asked me to pick out single moments. I mean, those are the first things that come to mind.
How long would the review have lasted if that Oakland thing were reviewed?
Oh my God, yeah.
We'd still be there, right? I don't know.
Lord. Yeah, that'd be terrible.
He is one of those rare players that even Red Sox fans will say, I really love Jeter. I couldn't really root for him, but I really loved him.
Yeah, I'd say that, and I hate the Yankees.
Of
course.
Think, yeah.
You
too,
how
Howard.
do you not respect him?
I don't like the Yanks. But.
No, but how do you not respect a guy like that and the way he played the game and the accomplishments, the regular season, the postseason, how clutch he was, all the stuff. Yeah, I never root for the Yankees, but I'm not stupid enough to tell you Jeter's a bum because I don't root for the Yankees. He was one of the best players I ever saw. All right, that's enough Yankee love for the show this year. We'll pick it up again, maybe give you a day next year to say something nice about the Yankees.
I mean, I'm here tomorrow. We can keep the Yankees thing going.
I believe
we can actually slow down at any. We can just forget about them for a little while until they start winning again.
It's a great point.
They had this 13-game winning streak, and now they can't find their way into the W column.
And the Jays are red hot. All right, Mr. Capaccio, we will see you at 10 o'clock today.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Sal and Joe DiBiase debuted the regularly scheduled weekday version of the Extra Point Show yesterday. That's right. In case you're the one person who doesn't know about it, they are now on Monday through Friday from 10 to noon. Sal and Joe with the expanded Extra Point Show. Instigators is on from noon to 1. One Bill's live from 1 to 3. Sal joining us on the Wester Hotline. He was brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet? What, if any, concerns do you have about the Bills this season? Not including injuries and COVID. We're going with just like the football stuff. 803-0550 to join us on that, or whatever else is on your mind when it comes to talking about the Bills, the season, the opener Sunday against the Steelers. Grab a line, join us this morning. Hey, we're going to get a national perspective a little bit later. Ian Eagle is actually calling this game for CBS. We love having Ian on the show. He's got the play-by-play along with Charles Davis and Evan Washburn for Sunday's Bills-Steelers game. He's going to join us at 9. And we'll find out about the Steelers from Christopher Carter, who hosts the Locked On Steelers podcast on the Odyssey app. He will join us at 9:30. It's all coming up. WGR.
I'm Erin Ryan, political commentator, comedy writer, and host of Crooked Media's Hysteria.
And I'm co-host Alyssa Mastromonaco, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff for President Obama.
Each week on Hysteria, we are joined by a team of hilariously opinionated ladies to discuss the headlines from the serious to the absurd.
We cover everything from reproductive rights to rom-coms and break down the political news of the week and cultural stories that affect women's lives.
New episodes of Hysteria drop every Thursday. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
You want to know what Wagertainment is? It's the picks, the analysis, the information, mixed with the laughter and the entertainment, smart sports betting content that'll put a smile on your face.
The BetQL Network, streaming live each day and helping you bet smarter.
If you're a sports fan, you know why you should listen. It's sports betting content without the BS. No hot takes, no nonsense.
The BetQL Network, streaming live right now on Odyssey.
Sports, bets, and entertainment.